Looking back at football history, we only care about who won and what they won. But behind all the numbers in the league table, there's always a story about the teams who lost out on winning the league and how they lost out. Some teams finish a country mile behind the champions, while others fall just short. But there are a select few teams who had one hand on the trophy going into the final stages before throwing it all away. This is the art of a title collapse. Not all title collapses are built the same. A collapse can be explained by these categories. It can be solely down to one reason or a building block of categories to explain what exactly happened. The outcome of each club over the next few years is also taken into account. Some end up winning the league the next year. Others never got this chance again. Each collapse can be put on a scale measuring the severity and rarity of each case, as well as the impact it had on the club in the future. From insignificant to catastrophic. And with that, we look at our first set of insignificant collapses. After spending nearly 20 years outside the top league in Spain, Deportivo La Coruña were looking to improve on their impressive third place finish the previous season in 1993. They started the 93-94 season on fire with 8 clean sheets from the first 10 games. Deportivo led the league from matchday 14 and never looked back. Until the final day of the season, where a third draw in 4 games saw the Galician club fall to second on goal difference to Barcelona, despite finishing the season 12 games undefeated. It was insignificant because they ended up winning the league 6 years later. After losing on the 3rd week of the season, Roma lost just one more time for the entire season. Unfortunately, that wasn't enough to see Roma capture a Scudetto despite leading the league with 5 games left to play. That costly loss away at Inter was the last time they'd sit at the top of the table, and like Deportivo, drew way too many games. Despite this though, Roma fans were still celebrating their title win from the year before. That very same year, over in Spain, the big dogs Real Madrid suffered a collapse of their own. Sitting at the top of the table, level on points with Valencia with 5 games to go, Madrid won just one of the remaining games, which included 3 away losses to Osasuna, Deportivo La Coruña and Real Sociedad, eventually finishing in 3rd and only just qualifying for the Champions League. It was an insignificant collapse as, not only did they win the Champions League that season, they reclaimed the La Liga title the very next year. Dutch champions FC Twente were aiming to go back-to-back in 2011. Having tussled back and forth with giants Ajax and PSV throughout the season, Twente entered the final day of the season 1 point ahead of Ajax, with both teams due to go face-to-face in a straight shootout for the title. One of the few times in football history this would take place, and for our protagonists, it ended in a 3-1 defeat. But back to what was mentioned before, they were the defending champs, so although it was tough to take, it's pretty insignificant. Moving up a step in the scale, we have a set of collapses that a large number of people in the fan base has mostly forgotten, but if mentioned, it brings back distasteful moments that stung. Here we see teams who experience their last chance of winning the title. Teams blow leads over the course of 4 to 5 games, and in the worst case, watch their biggest rivals celebrate at their expense. Roma had a dreadful start to the 2009-10 season, losing 5 of the first 10 games, leaving them in 14th place, 14 points away from Inter in 1st. But sensationally, Roma clawed back from the depths, going 20 games undefeated, to take top spot in the middle of April. Next, they overcame the toughest task of the season, defeating rivals Lazio in the Derby della Capitale. 4 games to go, 1 point ahead of Inter, and a first title in 10 years was theirs. However, it all came crashing down in their next home game against Sampdoria. Roma won their final 3 games to finish a point behind Inter on 80 points, but it was that Sampdoria game, their only defeat in 28, that dealt the final blow. If you're going to throw away a title, the worst possible outcome would be for it to be given to your local rivals. And that's what Manchester United fans faced in 2012. The defending champions and 12-time winners at that point were looking to once again go back-to-back Premier League titles, but for the first time in the Premier League, they had to battle against their noisy neighbours in Manchester City. Despite being hammered 6-1 by them at home in October, United still had a healthy 8-point gap to City with just 6 games to go, and the Manchester derby to be played on matchday 36. First, United fell to defeat away at relegation-threatened Wigan Athletic. Then 2 weeks later, United held a 4-2 lead with 10 minutes remaining at home against Everton, before conceding 2 goals in 3 minutes to drop 2 vital points and allow City to catch up. When United lost 1-0 at the Etihad, all City had to do was win the remaining 2 games, including that game against QPR, to snatch the title away. 6 years on from their infamous match-fixing scandal, which saw them stripped of Ligue 1 title and subsequently relegated, Marseille were back to challenging for the French title in 1998. Losing just one of their opening 20 games, the Olympians raced away in pursuit of their first legitimate title in 7 years. However, they were being chased by an equally impressive Bordeaux side, who were just 3 points behind Marseille going into the new year. Despite losing only 2 more games in the next 3 months, Marseille held a slim 1-point advantage heading into the final 5 games of the season. But again, this is where it all came crashing down. Marseille were demolished away at Lens, held by Lyon at home, and fell to the Parisians a week later. What hurts Marseille the most is that Bordeaux also lost twice in that same period, but crucially, they beat Lens 4-2 to overtake Marseille and snatch the title away from them. In the subsequent years, Marseille fell off a cliff, needing final day draws to survive relegation in back-to-back seasons. Marseille wouldn't win another title for almost a decade. Some of our protagonists are gracious enough to leave it till the final day before choking the title away. Werder Bremen were second for most of the season in 1995, until they finally took top spot in week 29 of 34, taking the fight into the last day, only to blow it all away. AZ Alkmaar clawed back from a 12-point deficit to PSV in 2007, but thanks to their resilience and a bit of choking by PSVs themselves, AZ topped the table for the first time that season, going into the final day. However, their keeper got sent off in the 19th minute away to relegation-threatened Excelsior, and eventually blew a glorious once-in-a-lifetime chance. Big dogs Juventus had a 9-point gap to Lazio in the middle of March, but losses to Milan and Lazio themselves, coupled with an upset by Hellas Verona, and a final day disaster at Perugia, gifted Lazio their first title in 26 years. For the next few teams, a collapse didn't just sting, but it broke them, so much so that they never came close to challenging again, and in some cases, end up being relegated. If you look at Real Sociedad's league finishes in the early 2000s, you'll see a bunch of bottom half finishes either side of the 2003 season that sticks out like a sore thumb. A one-season wonder that ended in Champions League place must be celebrated, right? Well, Real Sociedad fans still see this as a huge opportunity missed. After going the entire first half of the season unbeaten, Sociedad sat 5 points ahead of Real Madrid in second place with 43 points. Already matching their total from 2001 and only 4 points off their total from 2002. Real Sociedad won just one of the next 5 games, which came in a run which saw them win just 5 in 12, falling to third in the table. 4 wins in a row coupled with stumbles from Madrid and La Coruña put them back into first. Unfortunately, they were scheduled to face 2 teams who were battling for Champions League places in Valencia and Celta Vigo. A draw at home and a loss away inevitably allowed Real Madrid to overtake them for the second and final time. What makes this collapse more heartbreaking is the fact that Real Sociedad immediately fell into the bottom half and were relegated in 2007. 2 years after losing the Bundesliga title on the final day, Leverkusen had another shot at the first domestic title in their history in 2002. Very similar to Real Sociedad, Leverkusen started off with 14 games unbeaten before becoming virtually useless in winter with 5 defeats in 7. But with 4 games to go, Leverkusen sat 4 points ahead of Dortmund, needing just 3 wins to become champions. It would be nice of Leverkusen to fail to do this in order for me to use them in this video.
This corner for Hamburg in the 5th minute, flicked on by Meyer, and there is Barbarez at the far post for Hamburg.
Not only did they blow the title, but they did so in the Cup and in the Champions League too. In 2001, Lille were on the cusp of winning the French title in their first season back in the top flight following promotion from Ligue 2. Sitting level on points with Nantes, Lille failed to win any of the next 4 games, ultimately finishing in 3rd, 9 points off the top. Our last entries on this scale aren't suitable for viewers of a certain age. These collapses are of a harrowing nature, a combination of mistakes, big point leads, upsets against lower teams, all spread over multiple games. These are the catastrophic collapses.
He's still fighting for this title, and he's got to go to Middlesbrough and get something.
If there's one thing people won't forget from this season, it's Keegan's meltdown. Alex Ferguson got into the Newcastle manager's head as he and his team were in the middle of a monumental title collapse. Newcastle were only in their 3rd season back in the top flight following promotion in 1993, but they wasted no time breaking into the top 6 in 94 and 95. Now, After starting the season on fire, they entered February 9 points ahead of Fergie's Manchester United, the new powerhouses of England. Over the next 8 games, the Toon Army picked up just 2 wins. This included a home defeat to Manchester United, a 3-3 draw at Man City, 4 away defeats to Blackburn, West Ham, Arsenal and Liverpool, where they let a 3-2 lead slip. And just like that, their 9-point lead had turned into a 6-point deficit, which led to one of the greatest manager meltdowns of all time.
But I'll tell you, you can tell him now, I'll be watching it, we're still fighting for this title, and he's got to go to Middlesbrough and get something. And I'll tell you, honestly, I will love it if we beat them. Love it.
The only time that Racing Club de Lens has ever won a title came back in 1998. 4 years later, they gave it another shot at the league title. In a season where they were comfortably becoming favourites to win it, they led from matchday 12 to 28 until the inevitable collapse occurred. It started with a loss to Bordeaux, then back-to-back draws against Sedan and Troyes. By this time, Lyon had closed the gap to 2 points. Lens travelled to 14th place Bastia and lost. Lyon could only draw, so Lens had 2 more opportunities to secure the title. Those were a home game to relegation-threatened Guingamp and a final day trip to Lyon. Lens defeated Guingamp and Lyon beat Bordeaux to take it to the final day. All Lens had to do was play for a draw and they'd win the title. Well, going 2-0 down inside 14 minutes did not help. Over the course of 6 games, Lens had gave up a 6-point lead, failing to beat teams in the bottom half of the table to completely throw away this Ligue 1 title. In the following years, Lens had 5 consecutive top 8 finishes before being relegated in 2008. The 2022-23 season was the stuff of dreams for Arsenal fans all over the world. After 6 straight years outside the top 4 and being nowhere near challenging for the Premier League, Mikel Arteta's side shocked everyone by emerging as the main challenger to Manchester City. After just 1 defeat in the first 19 games, Arsenal stumbled for a bit before winning 7 on the bounce, which included a last-second win over Bournemouth at home. This result was the one that got Arsenal fans believing of a first title in 19 years. Arsenal held an 8-point lead with City having a game in hand. Their April schedule was tough, but Arsenal fans were already trying to figure out which games they can afford to drop points in with an expected defeat to Manchester City. However, Arsenal dropped a 2-0 half-time lead at Anfield in the first game, then did the same in London against West Ham, a game they'd expect to win. Then in the home banker against bottom of the table Southampton, Arsenal had to twice come back from 2 goals down to rescue a point. With a 4-1 defeat at the Etihad 5 days later, the dream was over, as the relentless force of Man City took over and became champions. When it comes to just downright giving up, Real Madrid's 03-04 season takes the cake. A year on from being gifted the title by Sociedad, Madrid had an 8-point lead with just 12 games to go. And here's how it all fell apart. 2 draws to Racing Santander and Zaragoza and a loss to Athletic Bilbao brought Valencia to within 1 point of them. Back-to-back wins kept Valencia at bay, however, but Madrid suffered a damaging 3-0 home defeat to Osasuna, the home banker. But with a Madrid derby win, they were back level on points with Valencia, ready to take this title fight down to the wire, push Valencia to the limit by winning all their games. On the 26th of August 2023, Botafogo of the Brasileiro Serie A have won their 16th game of the season at just the 21st round of fixtures. Currently sitting 11 points ahead of Palmeiras and having only lost 2 games all season, Botafogo managed to put every single building block of a title collapse together in one attempt to produce the monumental choke job of a collapse that none has seen before and may never see again. Fogo completely forgot how to play the game of football, winning just 2 of the remaining 17 games, eventually finishing in 5th place, 6 points off the top, and squandering a first chance of a title in 18 years. Whenever speaking of a team who choked away a title, refer back to these factors as a way of explaining just how bad the collapse was.